to Yemen. People in Yemen are due to elect a new president, finally ending Ali Abdullah Saleh's 33-year rule. Voters are expected to rubber stamp Vice President Abraba Mansour Hadi, the only candidate on Tuesday's poll. So, slightly odd election, but nonetheless, it comes after a year of violent anti-government protests in the Arabian Peninsula's poorest country. Iona Craig is a journalist based in Sana'a. Only one candidate, I suppose. They'll just be glad to get rid of Saleh, will they?
Yes, there is an element of that. And this, of course, one-man election is a result of a Gulf-sponsored deal in order to remove Saleh from power. That's why we have this slightly strange arrangement. But there is very much mixed feeling about this poll. Some are choosing to boycott it. Many are choosing to boycott it, while others realise it's the only way to really get rid of him at this time.
And also, isn't this because actually he is obviously a huge part of the problem, but there are actually lots of sort of competing groups for a change in power in Yemen, and we should not assume that they're all people running around saying, let's have democracy.
There is an element of that, but I think the real reason we are where we are is because of this GCC bill, as it's called, and also Saleh's insistence that the vice president had to be voted in, as he declared he was voted in via the ballot box. So it's less about concerns over that we've seen in Egypt and places of the Muslim Brotherhood and things like that. That doesn't really come into it. But there are certainly many groups in Yemen that, as I say, oppose this ballot in the south as well as in the north. And we've had clashes here overnight as a result of that.
These are the heavy clashes in Aden. Well, what happened there?
There's the group that sort of widely goes by the name of the Southern Movement, which includes sort of a lot of loosely aligned members, but also known as Iraq here. And they have said they're definitely going to boycott the election, and some of them have chosen to do so and express that view in a very militant way. They see northern rule as domination in the south. The south was its own state until 1990, and then in a civil war in 1994 was crushed by Saleh's soldiers. Since then, they believe that and have many grievances against the northern government to do with sort of land being taken away from them, being neglected, and this has been an ongoing grievance for the last 10, 20 years. But this election now is almost as if their nose is being rubbed in it. So the clashes last night were to do with government troops trying to bring in the ballot boxes into central Aden, whilst the Iraq tried to prevent that happening. So yes, there was some quite heavy gunfire in Aden last night, and we've seen over the last week polling stations being attacked by grenades and sort of drive-by shootings.
If the vice president comes in and he's the one man on the ticket and Saleh insists this is part of the deal, what happens to him? What under this deal, where does he go?
Saleh, where does Saleh go?
Yeah.
Well, that's almost the catch. He can pretty much do what he likes. He has said he's going to come back, as he's in the US at the moment undergoing medical treatment. But he said he's going to come back and lead his ruling party. There's nothing actually to stop him from standing as Prime Minister in the elections that we're due to have here in 2014 if they go ahead. He's very much still involved in Yemen politics. His influence is still here through his sons, nephews and family members who still command military units and the Air Force. So his power and influence here is far from over. And I think it's highly likely that he'll try and use that and manipulate the situation going forward. And this is another concern that things are not really going to change a huge amount after this election, with Saleh still being allowed to be involved in the Yemen political scene.
I have a feeling we'll be talking about this again. Iona, thank you very much indeed. Iona Craig, a journalist based there in